Welcome back. We are on the grid at Austria, WOR. This is going to be a wet race to start, dry race in the end. So right off the line, it's not going to be the easiest start. We're using a dry race setup right now. So this car is not optimized for the rain except for a few little tweaks. But I'm going to set myself up for the dry race afterwards. And I know the pace here is good, so I'm not too concerned about it. But coming out of the first turn there, and quite honestly, just happy to make it out alive. It's a tough turn, high speed when it's dry at the start with the rain. It could have been much worse. So we're going to go ahead into turn 3 here, and we're going to try and slot ourselves in. We find a spot inside the Red Bull right here, but he's going to go ahead and just kind of completely ignore us and forget that we're there. So he doesn't leave any racing room for us. We back out just in time so that we don't take any damage, but like, that's one of those situations where my car was more than in the right spot, far enough ahead on his car that space had to be left, but can't do anything about it now. So moving on, and it's not the worst conditions, but I've never driven this setup in the wet like this, so we use this first lap just to kind of get a feel for what it's like. Overall, Austria in the wet is not a terrible track to drive because it's so high speed. As you can see, there's not a lot of spots except for that one heavy braking zone really where you're coming to a stop. So the rain's not as bad as some other tracks would be. Doesn't mean it's easy, and you'll see a few cars go off even in this next lap here. So not the easiest. It is still wet, but coming around the first turn, and we're gonna get a few spots here just from people going into the pits. There was a lot of contact in that first lap, you could see it, so I knew that we would automatically be going by a few right here. As we go into the turn 1, get a caution as the car goes right across the front of us. Luckily, he's ghosted on that. I don't know, I never saw it from his point of view. I don't know if there's anywhere else he could have gone, but yeah, it completely scared the shit out of me. There was the car going left and going wide. I thought I was too concerned about him, and then that happens. And going through turn 3, we've got Paper Stream who goes wide, but handles it well, rejoins the track properly, safely, so no worries there. But it just gives you an idea what the track and what the race is going to be like. But we're going to jump ahead to lap 12 here. Coming around, the track's getting a little drier, but honestly, I'm not quite noticing it. I'm still super focused on just trying to get this car around this track, but all these cars duck into the pit lane, and it kind of throws me for a loop. I think they were a little smarter than I was, and I wasn't checking the weather report as often. I should have asked anything about it. But this lap kind of starts off what is really the end of the race for me. One small move, very, very small move that kind of throws it off, but you can see right now I'm kind of playing with the menus the whole time. I'm trying my best to go through and make sure I can get soft tire set on, but I've got Master Flash and Jake behind me who are very fast competitors, so I'm trying to keep an eye on them. I'm trying to go through this track. There's only, I think it's 10 corners in this track. It's very short, very quick, and just not getting any real straights to totally pay attention. Now, it does keep popping up prompts suggesting something, so I keep having to clear it. If I had paid any more attention to it, I would have noticed it wants to go into mediums. So realistically, that would have been a lot easier. But I mean, in the moment, and you get the cars behind you, trying to keep them off, trying to keep this car on the track as well, and maintain pace while getting it all set up is really tough. And there was 2 things I was supposed to be setting up here. I should have been changing my front downforce from an 11 to a 10, and I should have been going on medium tires. But you notice right there, even ask him about medium tires, and it says we can't give you this info right now. I've never seen that scenario, so I didn't know if that meant it wasn't going to give it to me. So at this point, I'm kind of freaking out and just really hoping I can get on my mediums. As the Mercedes comes shooting up the right, just a small mistake, and almost plows into us, but everything's all right. So we go through here, we double check it's on mediums, perfect. I kind of been stressing that for an entire lap, so just happy to see it go on there. But what I don't notice is because I'm so focused on the tires, I didn't change it down from 11 to 10 front wing, and the reason that's important is we're running what's called inverted wings. My front wing has a lot more force right now than my rear wing, and in the dry that's okay, but if you've got too much of a difference, it means that the front of your car is going to plant and the rear of the car is going to swing around like a fishtail. It's going to be more like a drift car than anything else, and it makes it completely undrivable, and you'll see it here. So we'll skip ahead to the next lap here, going into the first turn, and you guys can't feel what I feel, but going wide is because the second I start turning in, or the second there's any force, the rear just wants to slide around like a pendulum, and it's really, really hard to control. And you can see it, just take a look right there. Downforce is at 11, should have been at 10. So I switched it over to 10 so that if I pit again, it'll switch automatically. But right now, we're not really sure what to do, to be honest. Coming around the corner, you'll see just how bad it is. It just goes. It's like a drift car. It's like you're driving on ice. There's zero control to it at all. Even here, the quick spin off the throttle early, but it just keeps going. Yeah, it was completely terrible to drive. It was absolutely awful. But I didn't quite know how I was going to play this. We didn't get any more safety cars or anything for the rest of this race, and I kind of thought there would be. So my original idea was I was trying to hold off, hoping someone else would need a safety car, and that would get me in. But after that spin, after you can see this too, it's completely uncontrollable. There's nothing I can do with it. So I know I'm going to have to pit. And this sucks because I'm going to have to get on another fresh set of tires, which I wanted later in case there's a safety car. I'm going to use up about almost 30, like 25 seconds-ish into this pit, and it's going to stick me in the back. So being, I think it was 12th before all this started, I was actually in front of Flash, who ended up in second. So I think if this hadn't happened, I think it could have been a much different race. But there's nothing I can do about it, and the best I can do is salvage it. I think looking back, I should have gone on softs this time and just pounded out the laps, because it would have been probably a second faster lap at least. But like I said, I was really hoping for a safety car, and I was hoping that when everyone else pit to go on softs, it would at least give me track position. I lose some spots on the restart, but yeah, it didn't happen that way. So we're going to jump ahead. We are at lap 29. I'm going to skip up to 30 here just because that was a long race, trying to catch up to the cars ahead and try to close a 30-second gap with no one to get a tow along. So this has been a long time coming. Dan behind us. We're going to go ahead and let him through. You see the little wiggle side to side. It's just a thank you. Just respect among drivers. But I know he's faster. I'm getting close to the car ahead, paper stream, and I really want to catch him. So what I'm going to do here, since my ERS, my energy is low, is I'm going to follow him through and let him drag me up to the car. And we skip ahead here to lap 34, and you notice we're right up on paper stream now. If you look at the top left, you see Dan is actually at the bottom. He's under DNF. Unfortunately, the lap before this, he spun on the turn coming up right here, and had to retire the car. So that sucks for him. He was doing a good job there. But come around, we get a much better exit. We also get the DRS. We have the slipstream, so we're going to go ahead and pass paper stream here. But he did a good job. We've been trying to catch him for probably 15 laps, so good on him there. And we come around here, and quite honestly, I didn't expect this, but he's going to come back at us. And I think it's just, he doesn't have a penalty, so he's going to get the spot back automatically, unless I could clear him, which isn't going to happen. But he lunges up the inside, so we're going to go for a switchback, and I just calculated a little bit wrong, so we give him a bit of a bump there, but no damage, doesn't really throw it off. We're going to take the inside and follow this out to the end of the race. But unfortunately, that was it. We're going to end up in 12th because of this penalty. But that's unfortunately just that one change, that forgetting to change 11 down to 10 when I came into that pit stop, completely cost me this race. And I think I would have done really well. I think I would have placed higher points than I've done in the past. I think, because my highest so far, I believe I'm at 7th place. I think I could have definitely beat that. My pace is really strong here, and the setup I had is a little unique, but it gives me a huge advantage in some of the slow areas for other cars. So I was looking forward to it. But either way, congratulations to the guys on pole here, and to Locker, who he loves this track too. So I'm glad he got to win it here. But next week we'll be going to Silverstone, which is definitely going to be a tough one. I have never raced there myself, and a lot of these guys are British, so this is going to be their home Grand Prix. We can take a look real quick at the final. We're going to end in 12th. I might get bumped up a little bit because of penalties later, or steward decisions, we'll see. But we'll see you guys back next week for Silverstone.